The office doors of Sterling Enterprises were massive, intimidating, and strictly off-limits to anyone under 30. Except today, apparently. I had barely stepped inside when the receptionist's eyes widened. "Wait, you're here for an appointment?" she asked, her voice a mix of confusion and concern. I'm Emily," I stammered, clutching my mother's handwritten note. "Mom's sick, so I came instead." The elevator ride felt like an eternity. My small hands gripped the railing as my heart pounded. I was just 9 years old, and yet here I was, walking straight into the lair of the most powerful man in the city, Mr. Harrison Sterling, Billionaire CEO, known for his sharp suits and even sharper demeanor. When the office doors opened, I froze. Mr. Sterling looked up from his papers, eyes narrowing at the sight of me. "And who are you?" he asked, his voice echoing in the vast room. "My name is Emily," I said softly, trying to sound braver than I felt. "Mom asked me to come because she couldn't. She says you're helping her with the grant, and I promised I'd be responsible." For a moment, the billionaire stared, his expression unreadable. Then something shifted, a flicker of surprise, maybe even warmth. He closed his laptop, leaned back in his chair, and smiled, not the kind of smile that a CEO gives to impress clients, but the kind that reaches your heart. "You came all this way for your mom?" he asked. "That's remarkable." I nodded. She always says kindness matters more than money. And just like that, the most unexpected meeting of my life began. Mr. Sterling leaned forward, resting his elbows on the polished mahogany desk. "Emily," he said thoughtfully, "you didn't have to come all this way. Most people wouldn't." I swallowed hard. "I know, sir, but Mom said I should always try to help, even when it's hard." He studied me for a long moment, as if trying to decide whether I was just a child or something more. Then, to my surprise, he stood up and walked around the desk. His towering presence could have been intimidating, but there was a gentleness in his eyes. "Show me," he said. "Tell me what your mom wanted to discuss." I handed him the papers my mom had prepared. As he skimmed through the documents, his brow furrowed, then relaxed. "I see. She wants the community center grant finalized quickly." "Yes, sir," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "She's been working so hard to help kids like me." For a moment, silence hung in the room. Then Mr. Sterling smiled, this time broader, warmer. "You know, Emily, it's rare to meet someone your age who understands responsibility like this." He paused, as if weighing a decision. "I'm going to make sure your mom's grant goes through. But not just that, I want to meet her, and maybe even learn a thing or two from her." My eyes widened. "Really? Really," he said. "And Emily, thank you for reminding me that kindness isn't just for adults. It starts here," he tapped his chest, "and it can change everything." As I left his office that day, clutching the papers a little tighter than before, I realized something extraordinary. Sometimes the smallest acts of courage and love, like a little girl showing up for her mom, can touch the hearts of the most unlikely people. And just like that, a simple act of kindness had begun to change the world around me, one unexpected person at a time. The next morning, I woke with a flutter in my chest. I hadn't expected to hear from Mr. Sterling so quickly, but there it was, a call to my home. My mom, still in bed, smiled faintly as I answered. "Emily?" His deep voice echoed through the phone. "Your mom's grant has been approved, and I'd like to invite her to the office, if she's feeling up to it." I gasped, a mix of excitement and relief. "Oh, thank you, sir. She'll be so happy." When Mom finally arrived at the sleek, glass-walled office, she was still weak but determined. Mr. Sterling greeted her with the same warmth he'd shown me. They talked for hours, but I stayed close, quietly watching. And then I noticed it, how my mom's eyes sparkled with hope again, how she laughed genuinely, a sound I hadn't heard in weeks. After the meeting, as we were leaving, Mr. Sterling knelt down to my height. "Emily," he said, "you reminded me today of something very important. Real success isn't measured by money or power. It's measured by the kindness we give and the lives we touch." I hugged him, feeling the weight of his words sink in. "I'll remember that," I whispered. On the way home, my mom held my hand tightly. "I'm proud of you," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "You didn't just come for me, you changed someone's life." And in that moment I realized something profound. Even the smallest acts of courage and compassion, like a little girl walking into a billionaire's office, can ripple out and touch countless hearts. That day, I learned that kindness isn't just an idea or a lesson, it's a force powerful enough to bridge worlds, to heal hearts, and to create miracles in the most unexpected places. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply show up. In the weeks that followed, our lives began to change in ways I hadn't imagined. The community center my mom had worked so tirelessly to support was thriving, thanks to the grant Mr. Sterling had fast-tracked. Children who had never had a safe place to learn and play now had one, filled with laughter and hope. But the biggest change wasn't in the center, it was in us. My mom, once exhausted and worried, smiled more, slept better, and shared stories of the kids she helped. And me? I carried a quiet pride, knowing that my small act of courage, simply showing up, had created something bigger than I could ever have imagined. One afternoon, Mr. Sterling invited us back to his office. "Emily," he said, looking at me with a smile, "you've taught me more than any business seminar ever could. It's not just about money or influence, it's about people. It's about love, compassion, and showing up when it matters most." I beamed, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with sunlight. "I just wanted to help my mom," I said softly. "And you did," he said, in the most extraordinary way. As we left his office that day, I realized something simple but powerful. Kindness has a ripple effect. One small act, a child's courage, a helping hand, a moment of empathy, can change lives in ways we may never fully understand. Walking home with my mom's hand in mine, I felt a quiet happiness, knowing that the world wasn't just about who had the most money or power. It was about those willing to show love, courage, and selflessness, even in the smallest ways. And from that day on, I promised myself, no matter how small I felt, I would always choose to show up, because you never know whose life you might touch, or how beautifully it might change yours in return.